As a parent, we are honestly a lot of times trying to figure out and navigate what it means to be a parent. And a lot of times it's hard to have those conversations with our kids. It's kind of daunting in the culture we live in today, especially. We're trying to understand our kids, trying to navigate through hormones and puberty and all those different situations and scenarios and circumstances. But in this next podcast, I'm going to introduce you to my beautiful daughter, who's about to be 13 years old soon, but really going to have a conversation with her about how we could better understand each other. I'm going to allow her to ask questions of me. I'm going to ask questions of her. And it's really an attempt to understand each other better and to create better connection and understanding. But hopefully you as a parent, or maybe you as a preteen or teen, can also learn from this video and actually start having those conversations yourself. Stay tuned to another episode of Living Fully Fit with Coach AJ. Well, welcome to another episode of Living Fully Fit. I'm Coach AJ, and in these podcasts, we help you become the better version of you in every aspect. And today, I have a special guest, my beautiful daughter, Emma, and we're going to do a segment I'm titling Generations of Wisdom, Life Lessons with Dad and Daughter. And we're going to be asking each other questions, but also just giving you insight from a preteen, soon-to-be teenager's perspective, and also from a father's perspective as well. And this whole segment is to help you have conversations with your kids, or kids for you to have conversations with your parents to help better develop a healthier relationship with your family. So let's get started, and I'm going to introduce my daughter here. So this is Emma, and Emma, tell us
Hi.
how old you are.
I'm 12 years old, almost 13.
Okay, and what grade are you going to be in?
I'm going to be in 8th grade. I just got done with 7th grade.
Awesome. And so, what do you think this video is all about to you? What do you want to try to help people with?
I want to help people with problems they might not understand their own children. Their children might be just being okay, that's fine, but you don't really know what's going on. So just kind of wisdom to put on to other parents about how to take care and connect with their own child.
Absolutely, that's great. And what do you hope to help with children that listen to this? Especially teenagers.
Hopefully they can connect with their parents more when they're sadly some parents and some children are not they kind of don't really know each other that much. So maybe hopefully this video helps them connect a little bit more.
Okay, so it gives them a little bit of encouragement then,
Yeah.
right? Oh yeah, good. And so I've been doing this stuff for a while, and usually Emma doesn't really do a lot of my videos with Fully Fit. She did in the very beginning whenever it was COVID and we were just stuck in the house and we would make videos.
That was fun.
That was fun, right?
That was fun.
We took a break from that, and then we did our own little segments of other videos. We made videos of our dog Neo, and we made videos of trying different kinds of foods with Eats, Treats, and Cold Sweets.
That was a good one.
And those were fun. We did a lot of those, but now that Emma's starting to, become more mature and started to become a teenager here in a few weeks, I figured I wanted to get Emma here to have a conversation with me as her dad and to kind of understand you, give you opportunity to ask me questions, and then for me to answer them, and for me to ask you questions, and for me to get better understanding as well. Sound good?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. This whole segment really is about getting understanding, about having conversations. Because I think a lot of times parents just tell their kids what to do all the time, which I think, parents should to protect their kids and instruct them. But I think a lot of times, a lot of parents don't ask their kids questions, which I think I try to do a lot. I'm not perfect at it, but I try to ask you as many questions as possible to understand you, and I'm not going to be perfect at it. I'm going to fail you a lot because I'm not perfect.
No one is. Really.
No one is, and that's the best way to parent is to ask your kids questions and understand them better.
Be honest, really.
Exactly. So, you want to get started?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we did the introductions, got the purpose. Now we're dive into some questions. So I'll let Emma ask the first question.
Oh, that's great.
We'll let you start, and then I'll ask you because we'll take turns.
That sounds good. Okay. What's the most important lesson you've learned in life?
Ooh. Most important lesson I've learned in life. I think a lesson that I've learned in life is learning from other people's mistakes rather than my own mistakes. And it's just going to be hard because I think a lot of kids, I know even Luke, your brother's like this, he'd rather learn from his own mistakes than learn from my mistakes. And I'll tell
Mm-hmm.
you, like, hey, don't do this because I've done this before and it's painful. But I think a lot of kids rather just, well, I don't want to do it anyways. Okay.
I should know from all the stories you told me when I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, I think you should listen to your parents because your parents have been through some painful things.
They're more wiser. They're older than you, and they've gone through more experiences than you have, and they've already gone through some of these things.
Absolutely. Compared to like you wanting, well, I just want to experience it for myself, but yeah, but we don't want you to hurt yourself like we got hurt. We don't want you to experience that pain like we experienced. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the greatest lessons I've learned is learning from other people's mistakes and stories and experiences. That way I don't go that same road and you could benefit from that.
I totally agree.
And that's why I share stories all the time with you.
Yeah.
So that way you can understand, hey, this is why. And this is also when I tell you, hey, baby girl, you shouldn't do that. It's not because I don't want you to have fun or I'm trying to be bossy. I'm trying to protect
It's
you.
kind of like when you like told me a few days ago not to be glued to the screen, really, because
Yeah.
like you're gonna miss like fun times and everything.
Absolutely. And you look at other kids who are glued to their phones right now. Look at
Mm-hmm.
them. Like they're like zombies.
They kind of are.
Yeah, and like, there's so much more out there. Like we have a pool outside, we can go
Mm-hmm.
swimming, you have all these books and things, and you're great at drawing and creating stories. And I want you to not just, it's okay to have a phone, some screen time here and there, but things.
There's more to life than there's a screen.
Absolutely. And I think you should, understand that it's not because I don't want you to have fun. It's because I want the best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Here's my question for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite memory of us together?
Ooh, that's so hard. We had so many good ones.
Okay.
Um, I really enjoyed our memory to Colorado that one year when we were in the 12 hour road trip.
Okay.
That was a fun one.
Was that the one with Luke? Just you, me,
Yeah,
and
where
Luke?
we would listen to podcasts. I thought it was just fun because we got to see all the landscapes and everything, and we just talked. Really had a good time.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. We took our time. We stopped at good restaurants.
My favorite part is that we got to share laughs together and just listen to those funny podcasts. I remember that. That was a great time.
Yeah, we found a really good podcast. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but if I find it, I'll put the link in the comments. But it's a Christian-based podcast, just fun family humor, fun thing to do when you're on a long road trip. We'll probably do that when we go on a road trip next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do it again. All right, awesome. Well, your turn to ask a question.
Okay, let me get back in here. Okay. How do you balance being a parent and pursuing your own interests?
Oh, it's not easy because I see a lot of parents that do one or the other extreme. They either are always all about their kids and they don't do anything personally for themselves, and then they end up resenting their kids. Or you see parents who are disconnected from their kids. You see parents, like I've heard stories of parents, that a lot of dads out there, especially, they'll just come home from work, sit on the couch, watch football, drink beer, and not pay attention to their kids or family. Or you have the other extreme where you have parents who are helicopter parents who like take their kids to all the activities and they never have time for themselves. So I've tried to do, as you see, and I'm not like again, I'm not perfect at it, but I'll wake up in the morning, also go work out in the gym for me, but then I come back down and I spend time with you. So it's that balance.
I think it's more balanced. Like when I'm with you, you spend time with me, but I'm not with you all the time. So when I leave, you get to have your own personal time.
That's true.
To yourself.
But let's say you were here. Let's say,
Yeah.
let's say in the summer, and when you're here for like 2-3 weeks at a time, I have to balance that still.
Yeah.
So I make sure I wake up a little bit earlier, go to the gym, still work out, and then still spend time with you and have that one-on-one time.
Yeah, and then since I go to sleep just a little bit earlier than you and Jess can be able to watch your own show in bed and everything.
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
your own personal time together.
Absolutely. I think that's important. I think parents need to be balanced. Their kids can't be their world because eventually you're going to graduate and you're going to go to college and you're going to have a job.
The world then?
Exactly. You're going to be living your life, and I'm going to be like, oh, all I know is my kid. I know nothing about myself.
Because then those parents are just going to be bugging their kid, like, oh, you need help with this? Or like, oh, let me come over. Like,
Yeah, it would be
And
the annoying in-laws, if you have a husband, your husband like your dad is annoying. He's up your butt all the
your
time.
your dad is driving me insane.
Yeah. And I'd rather not that be the case. I'd rather when you get old and you're an adult,
Hmm.
your future husband's like, your dad's so cool. He gives us a space, but he's also around too.
Like he's rad, man. Like
But you have to do that early on. You have to do that
yeah.
when you're younger. For me, like, I think I like to give you your space too, because you
Hmm.
need your space to like go dance around in your bedroom or
Oh yeah.
draw
That's
pictures
what I
or
usually do with my phone. I usually put some music on it and I'll do the weirdest dances in my room, like run around. I remember that one time I fell off my bed. That was fun.
that is. All right, my turn. Here we
Your
go.
turn.
All right. How do you think I've influenced your life?
How do you think I am? Well, I think you've helped me like conceive like what's from right to wrong, like what's the right path, but you also given me my own path that I can create as I go on in life, but you still giving me the right choices of how to continue that path of my life.
That's great. I didn't realize I did that. That's good. So how have I given you your own path?
How have you given me my own path? Well, you've given me my own space to like build my own path where I can decide what I want to do, but you've also given me advice of how I should build my path, but in my own way.
Oh, okay. So like here's some direction, but hey, you still make some decisions yourself.
Yeah, like
Okay.
here's a direction you should probably take, but you do you. I'm just saying what I think is best for you.
Okay, so that's good. And you appreciate that? Is
Hmm.
that helpful for you?
I think it's helpful for me because sometimes I think of other things, and then you give me some godly advice
Well, that's
and then
good.
you tell me like, oh, maybe do this and that, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I try doing that and it helps me like create a better path for my life.
That's good. Well, I'm glad that helps. All right, your turn.
My turn.
Your turn to ask a question of me.
It kind of stinks having a lock on my phone because I always have to go into it.
That's fine.
Okay, what's something about your childhood that you think has shaped you as a father?
Oh man. Something in my childhood. I think so. I've told you stories that I had a rough childhood with my dad.
Yeah.
I think that shaped me the most because I never wanted to be that rough person as like my dad was. I wanted to be the opposite of that.
Yeah.
My dad was a very rough man, very tough person, very overly strict. And I don't want to be so lenient that I just let you do whatever you want, but I want to make sure I'm balanced.
Like you want to tell us like, hey, sweetheart, don't do that, but you're not gonna yell like, hey, don't do that, like.
Exactly. Exactly. And just also just, some of the things that was punishment when I was a kid was just a little too much, I
Like
think.
you want that my experience with you to be enjoyable and not just be like being scared of you all the time.
Yes, I don't want you to be afraid of me or have fear of me. I want to build that respect.
You want me to understand where you're going from, like where you're set, what you're saying, like, hey, sweetheart, I don't want you doing that because it's not really the best. And I'm like, okay, Dad, so you want me to understand where you're coming from,
Well,
really?
well, that yes, and then also having rules that make sense. I
Yeah.
don't like just making rules for the sake of having. Like we had a rule when I was a kid that you could eat chocolate on certain days. We couldn't watch TV past 10 o'clock on Saturdays.
Or like you couldn't eat before you fed the dog.
That was exactly these rules that just didn't make sense. They didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to anybody in my family. And I didn't when I became a parent, I didn't want to make a rule that didn't make sense to you as my kids, like you or Luke. I wanted them to be common sense rules, like, hey, make your bed. That's a good rule to have. Hey, clean up after yourself. That's a good rule to have. Hey, wash your hands before you eat your food. That's a good rule to have because it teaches you
It's
cleanliness
also
and
hygiene as
hygiene.
well.
Yeah, hygienic. It teaches you responsibility. Hey, go feed the dog. Those kind of things. Hey, brush your teeth. Those just basic things that make sense. Hey, clean up the table and be part of the family. Help each other out.
Like take a break from the phone and come hang out with us in the kitchen or something.
Exactly. Like having when Luke's here, how we have like our game night and we just put our phones away and we just play games. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have any distractions. We have movies where our phones are away and we watch a movie together as a family.
Mm-hmm.
Those are common sense rules versus, you can't have chocolate. Why not? Just because you can't. I don't like chocolate, so you can't have chocolate. So
Yeah.
it'd be like me, let's say one of your favorite things is hot Cheetos, right?
Yeah, imagine, I'm not saying you are, but imagine you were allergic to hot Cheetos
Or
and
let's say I
said,
just didn't like it. And I
yeah,
said, well, I don't like hot Cheetos. We can't have hot Cheetos in the house. You're like, well, I like them. I don't care. I don't like them. So we're not going to have them. And that'd just be a very unfair rule for no reason,
mm,
just because I don't like them. Not because if they're unhealthy. Now, let's say later they had links to cancer or poison. Okay, yeah, then maybe we should stop eating those.
yeah,
But, I think those lessons from my childhood, have shaped me to become a better dad and to make rules and make sense, but also make memories. I want you guys to have a good memories for childhood. I don't want you
yeah,
to have trauma. Like I had to take years of counseling, and years of therapy to be the person I am today. You
hmm,
know, I it took years to get over some of those things as a kid because I went through hard times,
yeah.
you know. And I never wanted that for you and Luke. I want you guys to have a very good, happy childhood. That way, it helps you
We could look
develop
back to those memories.
exactly, but it also helps you develop into a better adult too.
Mm-hmm.
But, all right, my turn. Let's see here. Did
Yay.
that answer your question?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. What advice would you give to other dads based on our relationship?
Oh, dad, sit for this one.
Okay.
Okay. So, advice I would give to other dads from
Hmm.
my own personal experience.
Yeah, for me, relationship and everything.
Yeah. I tell dads to just like listen to their children, like give a care about what they have to say, not
Yeah.
just be like, "No, I own this house, I pay the bills and everything, I buy everything, so you have to listen to me. I don't care if you're upset about that, you have to listen to me." I want them to at least hear their side of the story before jumping to what they think is right.
Okay, so just basically listening.
Yeah, listening and seeing what they have to hear.
What else? Give me some more. Give me some
Give me
more
some
stuff. Like,
more.
yeah, like what's some advice some dads can learn from our relationship? How we have a certain special relationship, you and me as daddy and daughter.
Well, I think dads should like maybe hang out with their children more. I get it, like might be busy with work, but you could take your child with you and maybe like get them some books and you can hang out and talk about like, "Oh, hey, how's that book, buddy?" while they're still working or
Yeah,
something.
okay. So take that time.
Take that time, yeah. Or when you're still working, you can just let your child sit in your lap or something and while you're working.
Yeah, I've taken you to work before.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Remember one of your well, no, that wasn't a video call, and I thought one of your coworkers was hot.
Oh yeah, when my boss,
Yeah.
Lieutenant Bond. So Emma, when she was 7, had a crush on my lieutenant. Yeah, we were FaceTiming, and I was in Japan, and she's like, "Daddy, who's that? He's handsome." And I was like, "Oh boy," and I was like, "Sir, she's out of your range. She's way too young for you, sir." It was cute though. It was very innocent, and cute because she was 7. All
Yeah.
right, your turn.
My turn. Okay. Okay. Can you share a moment when you were particularly proud of me?
Well, I'm really proud of you. There's a lot of moments I'm proud of you.
Just think of one at least.
Think of one. Ah, man, there's so many good ones. Because like I don't want to give you the obvious of your good grades and everything. That's I honestly what really impresses me and makes me really proud of you is when you do sweet gestures. You
Like
know,
how?
like when you bring like that one time like you made me lunch. When you were little, you made your like little Nutella banana sandwiches.
Oh yeah, we went on a picnic
Yeah.
together.
Those little things, or just, when you're just kind and say something sweet, when you go up to Luke and just give him a hug. For me, I'm very proud of you just by the sweet personality you are.
Aw.
It's not, I'm, wow, amazed about your grades. Your grades are amazing.
Aw.
Your straight A's, great. Keep doing it. But, I'll say this but here, and I don't like doing buts, but what's more important is the kind of person you are. You can be a straight A student and be a jerk, but luckily you're not.
Yeah.
Luckily you're a straight A student and you're a sweet person that people love to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm the most proud
I
of.
think my personality helps me get these good grades because my personality, I like to like talk to my teacher and be like, "Oh, hi, Mr. Wojcik, are you doing okay and everything?" I think that's also why I've gotten a little bit better. I've gotten better with my grades. Of course, I've been good with my grades, but this year I felt like I've just gotten like bet better.
Well, I think personality typically helps create that relationship connection. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you can be a straight A student, but if you're a jerk to everyone, then it's hard to keep those grades up whenever, let's say you had a bad day and you couldn't make that assignment, but if you have a great personality, that opens up doors to,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we'll give you,
That's when I go to Mr. Wojcik
yeah,
sometimes, like when I wasn't there for that one week because I had like what was it? It was something off my nose or something.
science affection.
Sinus infection, yes. And the next day when I came back to school, I'm like, "Hey, Mr. Wojtek, I'm sorry I wasn't here this week. I had like a sinus infection." And you're like, "Oh, no worries. All the assignments had, you don't have to do them. It's fine." And I'm
Well,
like,
see, and that's
"Great."
that's based off the relationship you build because you're a great kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's what when you to answer your question, that's what makes me the most proud of you is, you being able to be so sweet and kind to
That's
people.
why I also got all those awards because I got an award from Mr. Wojcik, Miss Hanson, my choir teacher, Miss Morales, my math teacher, and Miss Barlow, my history teacher, because I was all nice to them, I think. And I've
Yeah,
gotten good grades in their classes
kindness
as
goes a
well.
long way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a great thing
To be proud
to be
of.
proud of. Like I said, grades are great, but I can teach you how to get good grades. It's
Yeah.
harder to teach you to have a great personality.
Yeah.
But that's shaped by, I think, your mom and myself. We have,
You were good role models.
yes, to make sure that you're a great person inside and out. You
Yeah.
know, you could be a beautiful person on the outside. You can have great straight A's, but if you're not a sweet and kind
People
person,
still won't want to be around you, really.
exactly. All right, my turn. Let's see here. What's something you've always wanted to ask me but never have?
Always wanted to ask you and never have. Oof, okay. I need
No pressure. No pressure.
I need to think for a second.
That's fine.
Something I've always wanted to ask you, but never have. Hmm,
You want to come back to that one?
yeah, let's come back to that one. That one's gonna take me a while to
That's
think.
fine. You go ahead then. You come up with a
Okay.
question. Then what you think about that while you're asking me this next
Mm-hmm.
question.
Okay. What's the best piece of advice you've given me?
Best piece of advice I've given you. I think the best piece of advice because you asked me recently what you wanted to be when you grow up, and I told you honestly, yeah, you can make a lot of money being an architect. You could be rich doing that, but you said you'd rather be an interior designer, right? And I said I would honestly, my best advice to you is do something that you enjoy doing.
Something I can be happy with doing for the rest of my life, really.
Absolutely, because you can make a lot of money and be miserable.
That's kind of like with Jess, because she was a traveling nurse and she made a lot of
But she was
money.
miserable doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that make a lot of money but never see their family. I know a lot of people
Yeah.
that make a lot of money and they're alone. I know a lot of people that make a lot of money and they're depressed. But I don't know a lot of people that love their job and are depressed. Might not be rich, but they're not poor. You can make decent money being an interior
Kind of like
decorator.
your job a little bit, like in the
Yeah,
army, like
exactly. Right. We're not poor, but I'm not a multimillionaire.
or we don't live in a mansion or
No, but we
something.
live in a nice house,
Yeah, we don't live in a 3-story building.
Yeah, we don't live on a ranch with tons of horses or anything crazy,
No.
but we live in a decent home and we're comfortable. We get to go on vacations, we do those things, but I'm happy. And at the end of the day, I'm not stressed out like, oh, I have to go to work. Some days I do though, but not every day.
Mm-hmm.
And some days you'll be like that too. When you get older, yeah, there are some days you're like, oh, I don't want to do work.
And the other days will be like, okay, work, let's go.
Exactly. But I think the best advice I can give you as you're starting to become a teenager and starting to kind of draw out your own path is draw the path that is going to make you content and happy with your life. Because if you don't, you're going to be miserable and rich. But honestly, I would go for, the comfortable and happy and joyful,
Mm-hmm.
It's not perfect, but that's the best advice I can give you.
Yeah.
So back to the question.
Okay,
What's
think
something you always wanted to ask me that you haven't?
I always wanted to ask. Well, okay, this might be a personal one, but I thought of this. What's something you like from each of your childs? Like, I've never really asked that. I usually ask like, "So, Dad, what do you like about me more than Luke?" But like,
Okay, so what
I
do I?
want I want to ask you what you like about each of your child. Like,
Each of my children.
yeah,
Okay, let's see something. Well, with Luke, I think he's very creative. Luke has a lot of creativity, and deep down inside, he may hide it, but he is a sweetheart. You know, like that one time he finally gave you the hug that you always wanted.
yeah, I remember that because he sat on my pinky. I was like,
But I think deep down inside, Luke's a hard nut to crack, but I think he has that soft nougaty inside, besides outside
yeah.
inside the shell. Um, but his creativity for sure, he's definitely creative. As for you, I'd say your energy. You've always had energy since you were a baby. Oh my gosh, since you were little, always the energy.
You should see
And
me at school. I'm the total opposite.
really, well, that's news.
Well, in the mornings, I'm just like, hey,
You haven't had coffee.
I haven't woken up yet. But like in fourth period, I'm like making all these jokes, and they're like, okay, Emma, please stop. I'm like, no,
No, not today.
not today, because it's lunchtime, and I'm like, I'm hungry.
Oh boy. And then as for Elias and Liam, Elias just has a little smile. It's hard because being with them being autistic and nonverbal, it's hard to
Yeah,
see the personalities. But there's a little bit of personality that creeps up here and there. Elias, he's just always smiling all the time.
I think he's definitely a smiling wrecking ball.
Yes. And then Liam, oh my
He's
goodness,
he's got such creativity
he does
too.
too. Yeah, his things he builds. I'm like, wow, just he builds these really cool, elaborate things out of those magnet
And he
like
does a better job
blocks.
with it I do, and at his age
I
too.
know.
And
So
being autistic, it makes it harder. But like,
yeah,
it's just crazy.
yeah, I'd like to see what happens with them as their personalities develop and everything. But
Definitely,
does that answer your question?
yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so here we go. Here's another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think our relationship has evolved over the years?
Ooh, well, I don't remember the day I was born where you held me. I was like, "Meh." So I don't really know. Yeah, you should know that. Um, I don't really remember that, but I guess after seeing all the videos, like I remember that little video. I think you still have it on your channel when I was riding it, like with my book bag or something.
Oh
I was
yeah,
going on a little adventure. I feel like we still have that same energy together. Like we still got that daddy daughter bond, and I feel like it's still grown over the years and everything. Yes, sometimes we might like not since you were gone away for a year. I haven't felt that same energy from that
it's
while.
hard. Yeah,
It's hard to see it from a screen the whole time because I don't
yeah.
get the same type of feeling. But since you've been back, I could feel the energy starting to grow back.
It's back to normal.
It's not back to normal, of course. It's still trying to grow back and everything. I still feel the energy we have together, but it's still the same before you left because like we had that all that time and then you had to leave, and now
Yeah.
I'm just trying to re reshape our memories that we had,
Okay, that makes
like
sense.
remake them.
Do you find it hard when I'm away with the army and stuff?
Uh, yeah, but my mom, but yeah, I think I find it a little hard because like you're not really here, you're
Yeah.
on a screen, and it's just not the same when I have only having an hour just to say to you, and then I disappear for 2 weeks.
Yeah. What's the hardest part about like me being away for a year or whenever I'm, deployed and that kind of
What's the
stuff?
hardest part?
Hmm.
Well, it's more at the beginning though. At the end, it was really it was easy actually, but at the beginning, it was just hard not seeing my own father figure in my life. Like I could see him, but it was all he was. The phone was always glitching and everything with the video calls, and it wasn't the
Wasn't
same
the same.
feeling, and I kind of felt a little alone at that moment.
Oh,
But my mom was always there to help me go through it,
well,
and
that's good.
I'm very thankful for her.
Well, that's good. Your mom was a helpful with that during that
Very
time frame.
helpful.
Oh, okay, that's good.
And Brent was also really good. He was really good during that time as well. And Paris was great with being her.
Oh gosh. Any more questions for me?
Oh yeah, I got plenty more for you. Is
Oh
that all
boy.
from you?
Let's go.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Okay. Yeah, I got 4 more that I made. Okay.
Okay.
What impact do I have on you as a person?
Oh my goodness. From the impact you have on me is every decision I make in life, I think about you and your brothers. So like every decision, every time I make a decision about my career, about the army, I make it with you guys in mind.
Because you want to like be a good role model. You want to show us like not saying you have to do everything perfectly, but you want us to like make the right choices as we go on and not make
Yes.
stupid ones.
That and, everything I do affects you guys, so if I were to do something really dumb, let's say I got in trouble in the army, I got kicked out,
or you
then
go into a bar with your friends and almost got drunk or something.
yeah, if I did something stupid like that, it could affect you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen soldiers for my ranking higher and they lose their careers because of one dumb decision. But the thing is that dumb decision doesn't just affect them.
It
It
affects
affects
their whole family.
exactly. And now their family is kicked out of the base housing
Mm-hmm.
because they're not in the army anymore.
Yeah.
They have to go look for a job. Their medical benefits are gone. So I think about all those things. I think about my career. The reason why I keep choosing to come to Fort Cavazos or Fort Hood. And
Dad, we don't call it Fort Cavazos. Who calls it Fort Cavazos?
Well, that's what it's called now. But
No.
anyways, the reason why, I keep asking to come back here in the part of Texas every time is because of you guys. Like, they can send me anywhere. Like, oh, you want to go to Germany? Nope, I want to come back here because I want to be as close to you guys as possible. If there was a base near Houston, I would be there.
You'd be there.
But there's no military base there, unfortunately. It's not.
Yeah, it's the closest one, really.
This is the closest one. Well, this is San Antonio, but San Antonio, they never have spots open there.
No, and I think I'm just used to this area in Fort Hood. Like, I grew up with this area.
Yeah.
It's like, it'd be kind of weird going away from it. Like, going to San Antonio. I know the place never opens, but if it did, I don't know. I still want you to stay here because it's just where I've become my own person.
Well, I've been here, think about on and off, 10 years now. So I've been in the Army 10 years. You've made that long road trip every other weekend for 10 years.
Every weekend, the 4-hour road trip.
But you know what? We make it fun every time.
Oh, yeah.
For those who don't know, I drive every other weekend, 4 hours there and back. Sometimes in bad weather, good weather. One time it took me 8 hours to come back home because of the snow. That was, and it was a rough trip because I remember I'm not steering wheel, I'm just like white knuckling it. And your mom actually texted me, she's like, hey, did you make it safe? I'm like, yeah, I just got home. And she's like, oh my goodness. And it was like, I think I got home like at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I had dropped you off at 6 p.m. and I didn't get home till 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning. Because I had to go like almost 15 miles an hour because the snow was so bad.
So bad.
It was like thick. And of course, people in Texas don't know how to drive in snow because it never snows here.
Mm-hmm. I think my favorite part about road trips, though, is when Luke's there. Oh, when I was 8 years old, you guys made a great performance in there. I think it was that, I believe in this thing called love.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you guys screaming in the car.
Oh, the Song by the Darkness? Yeah.
Yes, that was great. I love that.
Our little singing, like our car karaoke, honestly.
Oh, yeah. And I remember sitting in the back going like, and then finally going like,
oh, boy. All right, what's another question you have for me?
Okay. How would I become in the picture if you and Jess had a kid?
What do you mean?
Like, how would I fit? Would I still be would I still be treated the same if you guys have a kid?
100%. Actually, Jess and I have talked about this. Like, nothing would change. The only thing that would change is that there'd be a baby here when you're here.
Oh, yeah.
You and I still have daughter date, and you can still have girls' time. Like I said, I watch a baby while you guys go to get nails done still. Mm-hmm. Nothing would change, just that there'd be a baby in the house.
It's true.
Nothing different. Like, you still be my daughter. Even if I have let's say we had another girl. You're the oldest girl. You get to show her your ways. If me and Jess have a kid, Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of benefit to that, but also let's say if there's a boy, then you're still the only girl too. Either way.
Again, you're getting kind of old, Dad.
I'm still young at heart.
Not really.
And I take care of myself quite well.
You're like 41.
Yes.
That's kind of old, Dad. Like, you're going to be 80 and that child's going to be 30.
So,
Wait, no, I thought it out.
what's your grade in math again?
Wait, no. So you're gonna be like 61. You're gonna be like 61, and the child's gonna be 20, Dad.
Yeah, it's still pretty young. 61's not that old. You know how Chuck Norris is? Chuck Norris is like 80s, and he's like doing karate still.
We're not talking about Chuck Norrie.
I am Chuck Norris. Hello, duh.
Chuck Boris, okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry, people. I'm so sorry she said that. She doesn't know. Lord forgive her. She does not know better. Okay, next
That's
question.
fine.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that sure
Does that concern you? Are you afraid of that? Like if Jess and I do
know.
have a kid?
I have mixed feelings about it. Like, I just like our world that is, but I get that Jess wants to have her own kid because I guess I'm not her own really,
Yeah,
and she wants to have that own.
she's never had a kid of her own. Yeah.
But then again, you guys should suck it up. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm a child. Okay.
Someone's vicious here.
I'm just kidding.
I understand that, and I think you have to understand is that we're not going to let anything change. I think
Yeah.
when you're here, we'll still do our usual stuff. Still do movies and make food and swim in the pool and do this
Yeah,
cool
but the
stuff.
only thing that'll change is that baby, when we're eating, he's gonna be throwing food all over the place.
No, because I'm going to make sure it's a well-behaved
You're
baby.
disappointed.
No. Okay.
Okay,
Next question.
Yeah, that's over. Okay. What are the difficulties of having children?
Oh, the difficulties.
Attitude.
Yes, I think puberty is the difficulty.
Hormones.
Yes. Luke, when he went through puberty, it was like attitude all the time. Like, dude, what the heck? That and trying to get him to do hygiene, like go shower, you stink. It's like I just took one 2 weeks.
I remember when he was a teenager, like he was 17, he wouldn't shower, and I would like play with him in the bed, and I smell his hair like, gag.
Like, Luke, did you take a shower? Yeah, last week. I'm like, no, take a shower now, dude. Like, and then
I see lice in his hair too.
No, he didn't have lice. He had dandruff.
Dandruff, yeah.
Lice? We didn't have lice. Jeez.
I saw white specks.
It was dandruff. And then like, of course, someone I know also I have to remind to shower daily. Wink, wink. Hygiene's important too.
We're thinking of going to the pool later today, so I have to take a bath.
There we go. Thank goodness for the pool. Well, yeah. So there we go. That answers your question.
So hormones and attitude. Got
Hormones and attitude. That's the hardest one. Like when you're little, like I think my favorite age, both you and Luke, was like 7 to 8.
You don't like my age?
No, I didn't say I didn't. I said that's my favorite age.
Because we're like creative, we're funny.
You're still having imagination where we're playing and having campouts in the living
room.
room.
Care a world or anything.
It's easier now. Luke at 7 or 8 was a little more difficult.
Yeah, I remember you telling me the stories where he
was a little more picky with food. But he was a lot of fun and imaginative. We play lightsabers and that kind of stuff. And then with you, we would, do all kinds of adventures when you were 7 or 8.
I remember we used to go just on walks and I pretend I was like a horse princess.
Plus, at 7 or 8, clothes are so cute on kids. Like you can buy the cutest little outfits and they're so cheap.
You can buy dresses and we won't even give a care in the world. We're just like, okay.
And then now buying clothes for teenagers is expensive. And you guys are pickier. It's like, what about this outfit? No. What about this outfit? No. What about this outfit? No.
Like, yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that in itself is my favorite age.
I think that's what I have with my mom. Like she buys these clothes. She just buys some random clothes that I think I'll like, and then she gives them to me, and I try them on, and I'm like, oh, those are cute. But the next day when we go to school in the morning, I don't know, I become a completely different person. And she's like, okay, how about the outfit you said was cute yesterday? This one will look good. And we're like, oh, that's kind of
puberty. Puberty.
And then we get into a big fuss about that. That's fun.
It happens.
And then we become late to school.
Oh boy, don't do that.
Oh,
all right. Okay. Any more questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, one more. What are times I've made you disappointed, and how can I change that?
Ooh. Times you made me disappointed. I think just sometimes when you have an attitude, because I'm like when I say like, hey, baby girl, don't have an attitude. You're like, I don't have an attitude, and I'm like, well, here's the thing. If I said you had an attitude, it means you kind of did a little bit. You may not have seen it or felt that you had in your tone.
It's kind of sometimes like when I say, hey, like with my mom or maybe even with you, I don't even think I remember saying you had an attitude, but like imagine if you did or something, like
Yeah,
I would tell you, and my mom would say like, no, I don't, or like you might say like, no, I don't. I'm permanently, but you guys kind of do have an attitude,
exactly. So it's the same thing. You just have to,
or being rude or something.
yeah. Hey, don't be rude. I'm not being rude. You're being more rude now. You know. So I think that's
You get
one thing.
defensive over that.
Yeah, I think it's just something to work on there. It's just you have to be a little more self-aware, but also be willing to
But
take
that's also the
criticism.
part of growing up as well. Like we got
Yeah.
hormones and everything. Sometimes we can't help it really.
Well, yes,
I
but you
get
have to
it. We
be,
can help it. We can make it better and everything. But sometimes we kind of accidentally lash out.
and you might be unaware of it. So I think just
Mm-hmm.
being open to criticism is okay. Criticism isn't bad. I think you have to remember criticism doesn't mean that you're bad. Criticism just says, hey, be aware of this and adjust.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you can get to that point where you're able to accept criticism and make those adjustments, that's okay.
Exactly.
You know, so like if you say, Dad, I didn't like you when you did this. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry I did that. It's compared to like, I didn't do that. Yeah, here. What if I did that? You know? I mean, right? I mean, if you said, Dad, I didn't like the way you said that was kind of mean. I'm like, I didn't say it that way. And I just walk away. How'd you feel? You know, that you'd be
I
like,
feel a little like just disappointed to call
yeah,
you my father.
jeez. Well, see, exactly. So, but let's say I said, Emma, that was rude. I wasn't being rude. I'm like, but instead it said,
Acknowledge,
she's like,
like,
oh, I didn't realize I was being rude. I'm sorry.
mm-hmm.
Or like, oh, I didn't realize I did that. You know, I'll work better on that.
Or you can say, oh, I didn't realize I did that. Sorry.
Or like, oh, can you describe how I was being rude? I didn't mean to be rude. And that way you can understand how it sounded rude. You know, I think it's about having those conversations like we're having right now. It's about conversation. If you ask good questions, you get good answers.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't ask questions, then you'll never improve. And so I think you need to be able to be willing to ask questions, but also receive the answer. Because you might not like the answer, but the answer's there to help you.
Yeah.
You know, just like, you know, if I asked you a question, I have to be okay with, you know, getting the answer to the question. It's like, hey, what's something I can improve on as a dad? You know, and you'd be like,
A
well,
lot.
you could do this. I shouldn't be offended. I should be like, oh, okay, that's something I need to work on then.
You shouldn't be like, what? I haven't even done that.
Exactly. Like, I don't do that. What are you talking about? And how does that help you? It doesn't help you at all. One, it dismisses you and you're not going to be willing to ask questions in the future or tell me stuff in the future. You'll be more like, I don't want to tell Dad. He's going to get mad. You know, it breaks trust. But then again, also,
It also breaks connection.
yeah, it does. Exactly. It breaks connection. It breaks the potential for a good relationship. So, speaking of those questions, so what is something that I can work better on as your dad?
You can work better on. Ugh, so many.
Something I can work, I can work on to make, you know, me what I do as your dad better.
Maybe like in the mornings. Yeah, I know you already do this, but like maybe you could try to like ask me like, well, how are you feeling today? Do you want to work out, or are you just not feeling it today? Or like, hey sweetheart, like do you want to go out and do something fun at the I'm just giving things like go swimming or go to the mall, or are you just not feeling it today? You just want to have a relaxed day today. Maybe like ask me how I'm doing and see if I'm up to those.
So first in the morning, kind of see where you're at, kind of get a gauge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like see if I'm up to going out or if I want to just have a relaxed day and rest at the house.
Okay, so instead of like just assuming, hey, you're feeling good, let's go do this.
Like if I'm still walking around and everything, like, oh hey, you're up, good, go get some clothes on, and we're going to church.
Okay.
Not saying I hate church, I love church, but like some days I might want to just like relax at the house because I might be tired or something, or I want to take a mini break. Not saying I hate church, everybody, I love church. But
Well, here's the thing is, if you notice that we don't go to church every
I
Sunday,
know we don't go to church every
and
Sunday,
I think
but
the reason why is I want us to have a healthy relationship with church.
we don't want to be like Mary Cooper from Young Sheldon.
Yeah, she's a good example of what not to do as a parent
Yeah,
with Jesus in church. I think I want you to have a great relationship with
but you
Jesus.
don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, I think so. I think with church at least.
Yeah.
I think you
I
can't
can
overdo
connect with
Jesus.
Jesus whenever I want, even at home too.
Absolutely. And that's the point I always want to make with you. Is that's why we pray for every meal. That's why we pray all the time. We
At
talk about
night,
God. Yes, we pray at night. You're reading your Bible now.
even if we do the smallest prayers, it still means something.
Yes, we're talking to God. We talk about God in our conversations. I think that's more important than even going to church.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know a lot of people that take their kids to church, but they treat their kids like garbage after church. Yeah, I've seen people do that. I knew some of my friends whose parents were like that. They would like be raising their hands in worship at church, but then they're beating
Mm-hmm.
their wife at home in front of their kids. I knew people like that. And so I want to make sure that church isn't just this thing that we do. It's something that we enjoy because we want to be around other Christians,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all about that relationship at home, especially.
Yeah.
That's the most important.
You got any questions for me?
Yes, I do. So I asked you, the last question was something I can improve on. Okay. What is something that, as now that you're a little bit older, that you really enjoy that I do as your dad?
Mm.
Something other dads can maybe take on and learn from. Like, hey, my dad does this. Y'all should be doing this too, kind of thing.
I like how you like you include me in everything, even if you're like busy or something. You include me in everything, and you still treat me as like a child, but you still treat me as I'm also like growing up and everything. Like not only like, oh sweetheart, come on, just eat. You don't go that to me or like, oh you're full. Okay, that's okay. You give me the choice and everything, and I like how you do that. Like
Okay. So I consider your feelings.
exactly. But you also are just a lovable and playful dad. Like in the pool or everything, we like still play, and I ride on your back and drown you.
That probably will never change.
Probably will
You'll be
never.
you'll be in your
And
20s,
then
30s,
no,
and
I'm
start
gonna
to
grow
drown me.
even more. Oh, that'll be fun.
Oh gosh.
You'll have an old man back.
Save me. I'll blink twice if I need help. All right. What about any questions you have for me? Any last questions before we conclude?
Okay, I got one.
Okay.
So I know this is gonna be a random one, but if you had to save, this is not really a personal question, but I mean it kind of is a little bit.
Okay.
So you're like on a dock and you see three hands. One is this somebody's random little girl, like a little girl,
Okay.
me, and Jess. Who would you say first?
Oh my goodness. Oh,
This is a fun one too.
it's not a fun one at all. Oh, I don't know. Well, if you're on a dock and you're drowning, well, I know Jess can swim, so I'd pick up you first, get you out, and then get Jess because she's next, and then we get the little girl next. Like
What
that.
if the little girl drowns though?
Well, I don't know her. I would be devastated if I lost my family.
That's true.
I guess I picked you because you were light and easy. I guess grab you and toss you up, and then I'd grab Jess, and then I'd grab the other person. Or I might grab Jess first and get her to help you out first, like that, and get you both at the same time. That would be the best way to do it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's a random question.
Yeah, I don't have any other question. I was like, oh, okay, let's go ask him that.
So, something about this podcast I wanted to re-emphasize is that the purpose of this whole thing was to, have us a time to ask questions from dad and daughter, but for other people to listen and maybe pick up those conversation starters for their own kids. I think a lot of times parents don't have these kind of just sit down conversations. I know we have these conversations all the time when we're driving.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about life, and I love that. Or I made this video a while back that one of my favorite things you do is you'll say, Daddy, can you tell me a story about your life? And that means so much to me because I get to share my stories with you. And
that happened literally last night.
It did. And what I love about that is it's so sweet and innocent, but it also gives me a chance to share my life with you.
It makes me connect with you even more.
Absolutely.
Grow our bond even stronger.
So I'm going to tell you, parents, instead of telling your kids bedtime stories, tell them stories of your life, your childhood, those kind of things.
Even if they're kind of boring, you can still tell them what you've done as a child.
Absolutely. I think, those kind of stories have more meaning or they're more impactful because
then The Princess and the Pea.
Exactly. Because, those stories are great and all, but imagine the impact when you tell your kids about, a time you overcame something fearful or something goofy and silly that happened and something embarrassing. I tell stories like that all the time.
Oh.
Dad, tell me something embarrassing. Dad, tell me
I
what time you were scared.
Stories. His
Or
great.
Luke's stories are fun. I'll let him tell his own stories on the podcast. But, the whole point of this was just to kind of have a good conversation and to be able to allow my beautiful daughter Emma, she's starting to mature and grow up and share her questions and
you
her.
Flutter me.
Once she gets her looks from me.
Nah.
Oh wow! But anyways, did you have fun doing this?
I had a blast.
Good. You want to do it again in the future? Absolutely. We'll come up with a different topic. But anyways, in conclusion, hopefully this was helpful to you as a parent or even as a kid, and maybe it starts up good conversation, asking your kids questions or kids asking your parents questions, getting to know them more, having those conversations to better understand each other. That way, and here's the thing, it's not a bad thing to share questions that might concern. It's not a bad thing to ask questions about, hey, how am I doing as a parent? Tell me how I can do better. Because imagine this, they're honest with you and you never realize that some of the things you do because you did what your parents taught you,
You just kind of block them out.
Exactly. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to grow together, but also for us to understand each other better too.
Parents, you don't really have to film exactly the conversations you do with your kids. No. If you want to, you have to have their, what do you call it?
Consent.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't make Emma do this. I asked her if she wanted to. She wanted to do the podcast because she wanted to, help other parents and kids out there. And so hopefully this was helpful to you, and hopefully this video was, a way for you to start a conversation with your own family as well. But anyways, Emma, thank you for being part of the show.
You're welcome. I had a blast.
Good. Well, and I guess we'll see you again next time, okay? All right. See y'all.
Bye.
Well, hopefully this video was helpful for you as you're navigating those same questions that my daughter and I were navigating. Maybe other questions you have as well. So I challenge you to ask those questions, have those conversations. Sometimes they're difficult, having those conversations, and be honest in those conversations. Again, have appropriate filters for sure, but be able to share your heart with your kid and allow them to share theirs as well. You will find yourself in a healthier position for relationship and growth and communication when you're doing those kind of things. So hopefully this podcast was helpful for you to help you navigate through those connections of relationship as a parent, especially as a father and a daughter. But even you mothers and sons or whatever can also benefit from a video like this. But if you enjoy content like this, make sure to subscribe down below, hit the notification bell, and send me a like. And if you have any questions and how to start these conversations in your own family, send a comment. I would love to have a conversation with you as we continue navigating through relationships and living fully fit. Thanks for watching.